Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Garage Gym Experiment podcast. My name is Adam. That's Jake, and we're back again for another great episode. On tonight's episode, we have Garage Gym setup tips and rules from Jake. We'll get into a HomeGymCon update. We have some new products from GetRx and Titan, some survey results, and then we're going to try something new, a little basement gym tour of my basement gym. So Jake's going to start us off with those Garage Gym tips and rules.
All right. So the initial plan was for me to do some garage gym setup rules and Adam to do some basement setup rules, but I think we both kind of realized that it's kind of the same, maybe a few little tweaks, but I pretty much just did this, but I've been building out a home gym in a garage. So some of these are more garage gym specific, but I've been doing it for about 8 years or so. And sometimes my gym has been too crowded. Sometimes I've had some gaps. And I started from scratch, built it out. So I do have the experience to where I think I can give some helpful tips for anybody just starting off their journey. Number one, I have always found that I feel the most comfortable in terms of like not only working out, but having like the kids around when the garage door space is open. And by that, I mean you're able to pretty much fully walk in through the garage gym or through the garage doors. So I've got kids that are running around. If there's too much covering the doors, it's kind of like, someone's going to get hurt. That's number one. I would say do not rely on home gym hacks that take setup time over the long term. So you might find this like incredible jammer arm hack that feels good for one specific lift. I just wouldn't rely on that over the long term. I think either you're going to leave it up there all of the time or you're just going to never set it up again, especially when you're doing your workout and you're in a time crunch. Number three, I think the biggest issue for me in the garage over the years has simply been the weather. So whether that's really cold winters, really hot summers, more specifically the cold winters, those can be difficult to work out through day after day after day after day. It can be, mentally challenging. I would just say, like, if you can solve the weather issues by either insulating your home gym or adding some good heating or cooling, goes a long way. And I would say it's worth the investment sooner rather than later. Number four, leave as much floor space in the middle as possible. So as opposed to just clustering everything, I've found that the best way to organize my garage has been along all of the walls. So fill up as much of the wall as possible and leave that middle space for maybe only a power rack, which is kind of what I have, like power rack in the middle, and then there's plenty of open space. With that, it's okay to have everything crammed against the wall, and you have to and if there's like a wheel option, to move that towards the center when it's time to use something. So I would rather wheel something out from the edge and use it as opposed to having something in the middle that you could always have set up. Number five, think through the decisions to mount items on the wall. So I personally have mounted many things on the wall and have also taken down those wall mounts. So there are quite a bit of holes in my wall, which is not the end of the world, but not great. It's not a good thing to have lots of holes in your walls, even if you touch it up. So just think through that before you're going to just put a bunch of holes in your wall. Try and think long term.
Yeah, can I interject right there?
Yeah.
The hardest thing, I agree with that 100%. And the hardest thing to do, I think, is to think about potential growth where you want your gym to be in 5 years. You may think you have the perfect piece of equipment, but just know what's gonna be replaced, and maybe you're not mounting that one on the wall. But yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Number six, kind of making the one above even harder, is the more you do get off the floor, the better. So get as much off the floor as possible. whether that be your attachments, dumbbells, kettlebells, plates. Get those off the floor. It will make for a better workout experience in general, and also it makes it look much better. Number 7, paint. So this is something I'm still working through, but I've added some paint. I've seen lots of gyms who've painted, and it makes the world of difference. So yeah, paint. I would say paint over banners and other decorations. I'd say that makes it a bigger difference than that. Number 8, add flooring sooner rather than later. Not only does it make your workouts better and more comfortable and keep your floor safe, but it does make it makes it feel more like a gym sooner, even if you don't have quite as much of equipment. So more flooring sooner rather than later. The 120-day rule. Adam, do you think you know what this is?
I don't know what this is. I was curious for this one.
So I can't remember where I've gotten this, but I've seen it in a few just like general tips, and I kind of just put the 120-day rule on it. But if you haven't used it in 120 days or 4 months, get rid of it. Like, there's no reason for it to collect dust, and you most likely won't be relying it on the future if you haven't used it in 4 months. So even if you have to take a loss on the item, get rid of it, start saving for something else. It'll clean up your gym. I've gotten rid of quite a bit of my gym over the years, just like there's not enough room for everything. I think there's only one item that I've really gotten rid of that I have missed and just haven't pulled the trigger on it, getting it back. Do you have a guess?
And
you know?
I had a guess. What is it?
You don't have a guess?
Mars bar.
Transformer bar.
Same world. Nice.
Close. Yeah. I do miss it, but $800 is hard to pull the trigger on.
It's tough.
And then number 10. So this one kind of goes with the do not rely on home gym hacks, but make sure your core exercises or just really important exercises that you want to hit on a weekly basis are easy to set up. So if you know you have an issue doing leg day or doing your squats, don't make it like your squat bar all the way across the garage from your squat rack. Try and get that stuff up as easy as possible. I'd even say try and just organize your gym in a way to where all of your main lifts are set up. So that the squat bars are always on the rack if you can. The bench area is always set up. You have one pulley up for upper pulley work, one down, one all the way at the bottom for lower pulley work, etc. If you need 2 pulleys for lat pull down and tricep extensions, try and figure out a way to just always have it set up and easy to go, especially the core ones. What do you think? Did I miss anything?
No, you did a good job. I'm thinking about a few things that could be added for the basement world, but I think, what do you say about saving those and throwing them in next week?
Yeah, if you think you have enough.
No, I have 3, so enough is that's for you to determine. So
yeah, you can. Let's save them.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Out of your list, yeah, I think you did a really good job. Yeah, it makes me look at my space. We're gonna be going over my gym at the end, and I'm just there's so much that I have to do better at. But we'll talk about that later.
All right, next up, HomeGymCon update. So 97 total vendors now. One thing that's really cool is that we have 7 countries represented. So we have the US, Canada, the UK, Germany, Japan, China, and now Ecuador. So 7 countries. That's pretty cool. Awesome. I expected to get to 97 vendors at some point. I did not expect 7 countries represented. That's pretty cool. And I
That's
imagine
awesome.
there's
Yeah.
going to be more. Yeah. 7 countries representative. The overall floor space, you can see kind of on the chart if you're watching on YouTube, the growth from 2023 to 2024 to 2025. The overall growth from this year from last year to this year is about 70% in terms of floor space covered. And we still have quite a bit, and we're 9 months out. So it's gonna be really cool in there, like really, really, really cool. It was really cool in 2024, and it's just gonna be like a whole nother level next year, which
It was
is awesome.
unbelievable to walk into 2024 knowing what we saw in 2023. 2024 is like, took your breath away. 2025 in the new space. Yeah, it's going to be unreal.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things you want to see in person. So get those tickets. And then lastly on this slide, we started a HomeGymCon newsletter. So it basically, a lot of the information is kind of what you see on Instagram and the Instagram stories, but that can be pretty difficult to keep up with. So adding stuff to a newsletter. So we'll do general updates to the vendors, floor maps, but want to get deeper on this and make sure every item added to the for sale at booths are included. Updates to the competitions, updates to the prize pools for those competitions. Really want to showcase everything that's going to be added for HomeGymCon, and really make sure if you're going that you have every single piece of information that you need, plus even more. So I'll put a link in the description for that newsletter, and would appreciate if you signed up for that. Actually posted the first newsletter this morning, and there was an exclusive giveaway for the people who have already joined. So there will be more giveaways for them too, if that's your jam.
Or your jelly, whatever.
Or your jelly. A couple of cool new products. So the first is, and I think we talked about this on a recent podcast, or it's been highlighted on social media, but the RX3 Tornado Rack series from GetRx. So these feature the cool swivel pulley arms that include 7 angles, both horizontal and vertical, and there is also a 4-way adjustable arm that goes up and down as well. So seems like whatever angle you want to add for the cable is possible. They do not have them as a standalone purchase yet, but there are 3 options that you can purchase with their RX3 racks, which, they look like pretty good options as well. So the Tornado Smith machine, so that's a 3-in-1 rack. Tornado wall mounted rack, so that's wall mounted, and then a freestanding rack. And then one thing I do want to also mention is I was reading the product description, and I didn't do any research, but it does say that these Tornado arms are patent pending. So that could be pretty big for GetRx if they are patented, and it's tougher for people to easily replicate.
Yeah. I was just about to jump in, Jake, and to say we're going to see more and more things like this, even patent pending. I'm wondering if there's a way, I'm sure there is, where people can really work on adjusting the angles of these arms. You and I saw a little bit of this with the C10, not as much as this, but close to it, the Force USA C10. And it really reminds me of the, I'm blanking on it, the functional trainer, the $7,000 one where both arms move out. There you go. The free motion one. It puts the parts of that miniaturized, but on a cable system like this. I think it's really smart. And even though it's patent pending, I hope no one steals the patent, but I hope we see more stuff like this where you can adjust the angle of these arms.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely see options like this as the standard. And then, I mentioned that they're not for sale yet. if you want to add just individual pivot arms. Looks like the price will be $299 though, and they'll be available in early 2025.
They look like machine guns that you can add to your rack.
Yeah.
Look awesome. Yeah.
Also, Titan released the Medusa Bar. So this was right after we released our last podcast. It is a limited edition. It includes an anti-scratch RX range Cerakote finish, according to the product page, with a color-shifting metallic sheen, a Medusa end cap, and medium volcano knurl. These were shown at HomeGymCon, and they are definitely very nice bars.
Awesome bars. Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
I'm surprised I just checked. They're still available. I'm surprised. They must have made a decent amount.
Yeah, I'm surprised it took them this long to release them. Like
yeah,
they're
me
at
too.
HomeGymCon, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's another one that I forget the name, but there's another one that they're most likely going to release pretty soon as well. Bar.
Yeah, I love the idea of like it feels like a trading card pack, but with barbells. Like I think it's so cool. I hope they keep doing it, and I hope they don't repeat any. I hope the Medusa is one and done, and they're going to make others. But if you have a Medusa, you're not going to ever see it again. I think that would make it even more. Obviously, it'd make it more unique. That the idea is awesome.
You're starting to sell me.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool. Next up, so in the past we have asked what's your workout style, and we've always said powerlifting, bodybuilding. We always kind of morphed CrossFit and Ollie, and then also strongman. And it's usually pretty close, but powerlifting is usually kind of the top. But this time around, we asked between hybrid, powerlifting, strongman, and bodybuilding. And hybrid was the easy winner with 55% of the votes, which was very surprising. Powerlifting was second at 21%, bodybuilding 19%, and then strongman coming in at 5%. So yeah, that was surprising. I think most people just don't identify with a single sport. Next up, we asked, will Kabuki make a comeback? We kind of talked about their what's going on with them last week. Only 25% going to see Kabuki as making a comeback. One reputable person was in the DMs, and they asked, well, how would you define a comeback from Kabuki? And I was just they're still around in 5 years and they're profitable. But I don't know. I don't have a strict definition, but not a ton of faith. And then lastly, true or false, space is a bigger issue for me than cost when adding to my home gym, and 74% agree.
That's crazy.
Yeah, space. I mean, most people are dealing with a couple hundred square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
And then lastly, so we've done the trust levels question before. So what's your trust level? High, medium, low, and I don't know. So I actually removed the I don't know from the results and just took the percentage of high, medium, and low. And we asked about a kind of a varied group. So we asked about 9 different companies. So Rogue, Rep, Black Widow Training, Fringe Sport, Bells of Steel, Titan, GetRx, Freight Fitness, and then Major Fitness. So Rogue and Rep were the easy winners, but Rogue won pretty easily over Rep with 69% high votes. Rep had 58% high votes, and then Black Widow, they did have the most I don't know votes. But if you take that away, 45% have high levels of trust in Black Widow. If you take it down to the other import companies, between Fringe Sport, Bells of Steel, Titan, and GetRx. Fringe Sport was kind of the easy winner with a high level of trust. They had 24% high trust votes versus 27% low. So they still had more low percentage votes than high, with about half being medium. But they had about 24% high votes compared to Bells of Steel with 15% high interest votes, and then Titan with 10%, and then GetRx with 9% high interest. And then, we've seen Frey Fitness over the years, and if you're in the weeds, you kind of see like there's been a lot of like customer service issues, and they've been made very clearly. So I threw them in, just curious. They have about 5% high interest votes, 49% low interest votes. And then we also added Major Fitness, and they did not score well on this at all. So only 2.63% voted high levels of trust versus about 78% voting low trust levels in Major Fitness, who I personally see everywhere on my feed. I don't know if it's because I've clicked on their website, but yeah, I get their ads all the time. I get them way more than I even get Titan ads. So interesting data. I think tough crowd. The fact that only 24% have high levels of trust in Fringe, and like if this was like a grade in school, even Rogue wouldn't do that great,
Right.
So
yeah, I think the most important thing is like basically you could just combine the high and middle. I mean, not really. It's important to see who like really, but like I'm just looking at that low, right? Rogue 3%, that makes sense. 3% doesn't even make sense to me. Like rep to like those major companies who are going to treat you well. And then a lot of them, I feel like with Black Widow, like they probably just don't know, Dean runs a pretty small shop there. So, but yeah, interesting.
For sure. Yeah, interesting. And we've done this in the past with Rogue, Rep, Titan, and then Amazon. Just decided to add these additional ones. I didn't want to make this like a 50 company list.
Right.
Thought this was like a good baseline.
I agree.
But cool. Yeah, cool data. And
oh boy, my home gym tour. This is it. Cool. We're going to try something new, guys. I shot a quick cell phone video, just me walking through my gym. We're going to hit pause on some parts. If it works out well, maybe we'll show you some other gyms. We just had this idea to take you through my gym. I'm going to just preface it with this. I have a million half-finished projects in my house, and I feel like my gym really reflects that too. So, I didn't really clean up. This is what it would look like if you came over for a lift on a random day. So let's see how this works. Hey, look, it's my house. All right, yeah, my gym goes off of my mudroom door. So it comes down the basement steps there, which I'm just starting to finish. Off to the left, I'll pan there in a second. It's just like kids' room, playroom, TV and stuff in there. And my gym is here off to the right. Jake, if you want to pause it, like right there. Yeah, so I store my treadmill in the back and I roll it up when I use it. And then this back room is really turned into a catch-all of like tools and, like I said, lots of like half-finished projects. There's potential back there, but right now it's just wasted space. I would say my gym mostly lives on like under 250 square feet, and there's an additional like 100 square feet tucked away back there that I don't really use. So the treadmill comes up quite a bit. I do a lot of running in front of the TV, football nights. Rogue, Westside, Scout Hyper, foam roller. I'll just name stuff as we go on here.
How often do you use those?
They go through seasons. So there will be seasons where I don't use them all, and then there will be seasons where I use it 7 days a week. Just depends. There's the Shogun, the Nordic Shogun right there, also back extension. The Rep FT3000, and then you can see I put like a wall that I haven't finished drywalling and stuff, but I wanted to block the view of my HVAC back there. And behind it, I went ahead and put a little bit of storage, so whiteboards, my lifting shoes, backpack, stuff like that. Functional trainer there. I've got the slant board down there as well. The additional pad to my bench, which comes out quite a bit. If you want to pause it, Jake, thanks. TV lives kind of in the middle space there, which with the new rack, it kind of like impedes on it there. But there is my rack. It's a PR5000 by Rep, 4-post rack. I've got the Darko anchor and the Mars bar hanging up top. I do have the shorter rack, but it still works out to use it. Lift more, cell phone holder. Here, if you want to pause right there, Jake. The bench was my Rep AB3000. Wall control right here. You can see I've got the mag grips up top. I've got the Rogue tib bar, some grip stuff, my bands, spring collars. Yeah, all my cheap attachments as well. Single handle, straight bar, things like that. And then my favorite piece in the gym right here is my lat tower. I bought this on my birthday, like 3 years ago, maybe. And the height they said on it, I measured and it fit. If you go ahead and run it, Jake, it's a 1-to-1, 300-pound stack, but you're going to see how tight this thing was up top. You pause it right there. Yeah, I just fit it in, and moving it is a huge pain. So when Jake says, think about where you want things, yeah, definitely with something with a stack on it. Think about where it's going to live, because moving some of these things is pretty tough. I like this one a lot. It uses a belt instead of a cable system, and the belts are just super smooth. Yeah, just some hooks and stuff for some running trophies and things like that. Here's a major issue I have right now. It's my plate sitting on the ground. I haven't quite decided if we're going to do wall storage. I kind of because like Jake said, things move around so much. It's my Strength Co plates, by the way. Things move around so much in the basement here. I kind of want a plate tree with casters that I can roll them around on. I'm not quite sure. So until I feel really strongly about something, they live on the ground right there. This is how I put up my barbell storage. I took some 1-inch pine boards. I tacked them into my cinder block there, and then I went ahead and screwed the gun holder or the gun rack into the pine boards. The idea was to paint it the same color of the wall. It's just one of those things I haven't done yet, along with all like the drywall I need to finish in other places and things like that. On it right now, I have the Giant open trap bar. I have the Titan rackable curl bar. Jake says he has a super nice power bar for me. So I sold my other one, and Jake and I are also about 4.5, 5 hours apart. So it's been tough to get to him. So while I'm in this big running stage, I've been surviving on dumbbells for my chest work and just the Mars bar for squats and stuff like that. You can see the old bike hooks where I used to keep the Mars bar. Here's the Titan leg curl leg extension. I like it. Nothing fancy. It works. It's nice to have so you don't have to squat all the time. Yeah, kind of proud to show my Vikings stuff this year. That's my podcast bench. And also because I have short ceilings, about 7-foot ceilings, any of my shoulder overpress or overhead work, all my pressing stuff has to be done seated. So this 90-degree bench is perfect for that. You can go ahead and run it, Jake. You can see the barbell jack there, and then the dumbbells. These are the Intech, I think they're the craft steel, stainless steel dumbbells. It's the 5 to 75 pound set. And this is my DIY rack that I built for them. It's gone through a lot of variations. This one's my favorite. I finally angled each layer, makes it a lot easier to get to them. I need to paint it as well. But it is also bolted into my wall. I just tacked some 2x4s behind it, and then I screwed it into the wall there. And then you can get a shot of the back of my gym. It kind of works, kind of like an alley. Things line up on the walls there. And then, yeah,
And there it
that
is.
is my gym. So the only thing you can't see in there, and it's one thing I was going to add, is my Olympic rings. And that's because they hang up into my rafters. I also need to space my pull-up bars correctly so that my head fits between my rafters too when I do pull-ups. And I also have to tuck my knees because, yeah, short ceilings, just how it works. But, yep, that's my space.
Cool.
Jake's been in here. Jake, what do you think of the layout?
The layout, it's good. It's kind of like a windy home gym. You know, each thing kind of has its own place, like we discussed.
Yeah.
It kind of has like a mini commercial gym, like variety and setup.
Yeah.
I think I remember the ceilings being a little bit short. I think, you know, it's gotten better looking over the years as well.
Yeah.
You know, you've done a good job just like slowly making it look better.
Yeah, one thing you pointed out from going from your gym to my gym is with two people lifting in there, you definitely feel other people in your space. So if you saw it, I mean, it's two horse stall mats side by side, and it runs like that down. And so I never really realized it just because I'm so used to my space. But when he was in there, he kind of like noticed how we had to walk around each other and stuff like that. It's not a ton of like open room. So it's not like a big square. It's kind of like an expanded hallway where I've just kind of like shoveled some stuff in.
Yeah. And what about, I have a couple follow-up questions. So, you know, we talked about like getting rid of stuff over the years to like, just like as you learn, you kind of figure out what you want and what you don't. What kind of things have you gotten rid of that you don't miss?
Almost everything I've gotten rid of has been to upgrade. So I had the Rep PR 1100 with the lat tower on the back and the plate storage and all that. I wanted to get up to the 3x3 1-inch, so went with the 4-post PR 5000. That was the upgrade. Got rid of bumper plates. That was a big one. I used to do Olympic weightlifting, so the original reason I started a home gym was to train Olympic weightlifting in my garage when I lived in North Carolina. Moved up here and didn't really have like a team or a coach or anything that I worked with. And so I really just stopped doing those movements. And all of a sudden the bumper plates, like you said, it was more like the 240-day rule for me. When I noticed I hadn't used them in like a year, I was like, I don't need these, and I can buy nicer iron. I think at the time I was using old school iron from Rep, and I really wanted strength kill plates, and I'm super happy. I love those things. So that was one thing that I moved out. Trying to think of anything else. I had one of the manual treadmills. I had the True Form, and with my style of training, so I run ultra marathons, and doing long distances on a manual treadmill is rough, super rough. I had to do it in interval. It was like, jog some, run some, jog some, run some. I needed something where I could plug in like 5 miles an hour and then put my head down for like 2 hours and get that zone 2 training. So that went out, and then the new treadmill came in. That was a big one. With that training too, I brought in the reverse hyper and the tib bar. I started getting like lower body injuries, stuff like that. So those have been super helpful. And like I said, those just come in seasons, but yeah.
And then you have a nice rack. You have.
Thanks, Jake.
All right.
Continue.
So you have that. You have a lat pull down. You have a functional trainer. You have a leg curl, leg extension. You have a treadmill. Like, if you had to add something to your gym, what would you do? Like,
I've thought about consolidating and possibly selling the functional trainer, possibly selling the lat tower, and then getting something like the Pegasus, where it's the lat tower and functional tower all in one. Yeah, Pegasus is the C, Adonis. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Would you say you don't really use the functional trainer as a functional trainer? It's more of like
I definitely use it. I use it because the other one, the lat tower, there's no low row on it. Okay, so if I want to do like anything from the bottom, bicep work, stuff like that. Also, I like doing face pulls, and it's nice to get a functional one that gets right at your face.
But
I like
you don't like use both sides at the same time.
I don't use both sides. No.
Yeah, me either.
If you saw in the video, like, well, you know this because it's your old one. The one side I still haven't replaced the cable because I don't use two sides.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I think the like functional trainers as a like dual option, totally overrated.
I agree. I love cable crossovers, but in most situations, it doesn't get me wide enough. I like a really deep stretch, and yeah, I can't.
I mean, I like it for like convenience of having two options ready to go at the same time or for supersets, but never doing like flies with it.
Right. Same. I'm not using both handles at the same time, for sure. Yep. So
Cool.
Next steps, I guess I'll just share this. You saw a lot of drywall work. It looks like I need to finish that. A lot of painting needs to get done. And then that back room, that little catch-all needs to get cleaned out. The beer fridge is probably going to come down in here. Just make it more homey. And then the TV with the new rack. The rack's in a new spot. I don't know. Yeah, it was here when you were here last. The bars get in the way of the TV. So if I'm watching a football game and I'm training on this side of the gym, it's like the bar's in the way. So there's a couple layout issues I'm having. So I just need to brainstorm those. But yeah, all the walls that are drywalled and stuff, I dropped those in myself. All the electric I ran myself. So it's also been like kind of a fun DIY project for me. Yeah, I've had fun just building this out. Maybe for the thumbnail for this, I can find a picture of what this space looked like with a single screw-in light. It was so dungy. It was cool, but not what it is now.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Sweet.
Well, there it is.
There it is. All right. I don't have my script, so I'm winging it. You ready? All right. All right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, see, I can't even do it. I don't have it.
That's it. That's okay.
Catch us on your podcast systems. See us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow HomeGymCon. We want to see you guys in Louisville, however you say it. I know this part. Jake, do you have anything else left for the listeners?
Nope.
All right, guys. Catch you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.